turning revelation into creation. Hi everybody, it's Dr. Zaino with 15-Minute Fuel. We're just in 15 minutes a day. We're going to fuel your mind, your body, and your future. So kind of building upon all the last slides we were doing, we have to look at getting whatever targets, whatever triggers in your life to a level of revelation. So I'll give you a little summary. So when you're triggered by something, what happens? That trigger triggers a story, right? That story will trigger emotions. That's why we have all these triggers associated with everything in our life. Like, for instance, everything I have a story too. Knight Rider. I used to cry because I couldn't stay up late to watch Knight Rider. Back to the Future. So everything I have, or anything in our life, when we get in an argument, there's some type of trigger. When we get triggered, which is our button, that trigger is just a story. A story that in life, boom. It's like this real story we have gets turned on, and then we create feelings, and that's how we react towards something. Now that trigger or that story, we have to get to the point where we're able to express those emotions. This is something, the inner work that you do with yourself that I help people with. And then you get to a point where you're like, is this story that is the trigger? Is this going to get me to where I really want to be? In my relationship, in my business, in my body, you name it. And then chances are it's like, no, it's not. So that trigger, that story has kept you from progressing, evolving, and expanding your life. And so when you realize, okay, so what's the new story? What's the new story I want to create? And then you have this new story. And now when you have this new story, it usually comes with some type of revelation, like, man, like when it comes to this, or every time Monique does this thing, it reminds me of this, it triggers me, and I start vomiting these emotions from a story that I built that has nothing to do with her. So you come to a revelation. Wow, there's a revelation in that. Okay, there's the principle. The principle is like, whatever you come to. Like, I get so picky about the little shit that doesn't matter. But when it comes to something bigger, so if I want to connect with her more, if I want to have, just more time with her, I'm getting pissed off about these little things that don't mean anything. And so, wow, I get triggered by little shit that really doesn't matter. And so then when you get to it, it's like, okay, that's my revelation. So how can I apply that to my body? Well, you know what? When it comes to exercise and taking care of my health, I put a little bit too much attention on things that really don't matter. What are the things that matter? Good. So, when it comes to my being and my purpose, I get distracted by doing things for everybody else without putting the energy, time, and effort into my purpose, which when I am in my purpose, my power goes up. Now I can help everybody at an even higher level. Now, how does it affect my being, my balance, my relationships? I went over that. Well, hey, listen, I'm going to focus on the things that matter for us to connect and not let just some petty bullshit stuff get in the way. It's weird. And how does it affect my business? Well, you know what? What are the main things I need to focus to push the needle forward? So what I'm trying to say is, whatever trigger you have in any area of your life, that trigger is a story. Once you realize what that story is and you're able to break down that story, then you're going to come to a revelation or an aha moment. Okay, so some of you have had that aha moment, and those aha moments look like memes. When you post a quote, like you have a nice quote, you're like, oh, that quote spoke to you. You take the quote and then you post it, or you send it to someone. Well, I'm going to challenge you to take it a step further. So when we have a revelation, and we have this aha moment, or like I call it, the meme-worthy moment, then you have to take it just one step further into action. Because if we don't put action behind the revelation, we fail to create. So the whole idea, the whole end goal of a revelation is not to have an aha moment and you feel good about it. And you're like, oh, I have freedom from this old story I had. No. The revelation is the aha moment to now, what are the action steps I'm going to do to create out of that revelation? What are the action things I'm going to do to create a better relationship with Monique? What are now the action steps from the revelation that I'm going to do for my body to expand and elevate to my goals that I want my body? What are the action steps I'm going to do in my business from what I learned from that situation between Monique and I to then help push the needle forward on my business? And what are the action steps I'm going to do for my being to hone in on my purpose, to get my spiritual life where it needs to be? So what are those things that I'm going to do? So when you have a revelation, that revelation must trigger, induce some type of action. Because when you put the action that was derived from your new revelation, now it actually supports the creation of the new story, the new way, and solidifies it. Because if we don't put in action, if we just go, oh man, what a revelation. That's a lot of things you see in church. Oh, what a good sermon today. You know, God spoke to me. Okay, so what are you going to do about it? Well, okay, he spoke to you. What are you going to do? You had a revelation. What are you going to do about it? Because if I look at your life, if I look at your body, if I look at your relationship, if I look at your spiritual walk, if I look at your business, I don't see anything changing. So did you just get like a bump of revelation from church and you felt good about that revelation? Yet without action, there's no results. So think, revelation isn't the end goal. Revelation is to provide a new perception, a truth, a fact, a new story, allowing you now to make positive actions in a direction to express the new story. And when you put actions to express the new story, you then will get the new result in that area. When you have revelation, revelation leads to creation. And we are spiritual beings that are put here to create. So when you create, that's how you expand. So I just want to challenge you with that. So that's what I want to go over with you guys with. So when you get these aha moments, automatically go, okay, there's my revelation. That's my new perception. Here's my new story, or here's the old story that was keeping me down and not allowing me to evolve and expand. Now, what is my new story? Great. This is the revelation. How can I apply this revelation to every single area of my life? Then what are the action steps in every single area of my life that I'm going to do to now create? All too many times, we hear the music, we hear the sermon, we watch the social media, and we get that, man, that was good. That was a good revelation. But we fail to take the revelation, put action behind it in somewhere, in all areas of our life to create the new story. Once you're in the new story, there's no trigger anymore of the old trigger. That old trigger, that old story does not exist. So everything takes an action step. It could be one thing. You know, this revelation, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that for my body? How's that going to line up with my being, with my purpose, with my business, you know, with my relationships? And so that's what this whole thing is about. If you do, notice the trigger. And you get those emotions out so you could think clearly. And then after you could think clearly, you could then say, so what is this damn story? Shit, this story is from, you know, when I was 10 years old. How's this story treating me? How's this story working for me? It's not working too good. I'm destroying, I'm sabotaging areas of my life. Okay, so what's the story that you want? Well, I want this. Okay, great. There's your revelation. Good. Right, what are now the action steps you put behind the new revelation? There you go. And sometimes it's tough to get aha moments when you're in two places. Rage, when you're raging, it's tough, right? Because when you rage, think how many times you guys got so pissed off. Like, did you make good decisions? No, you didn't. We made rash, brash decisions. You told your boss to go fuck off. You know, you threw shit, like whatever you did, like road rage, right? And then what a lot of people don't realize, the second area that you are really not able to make a decision out of is when you're indifference, apathy, and numb. So when you hit the lowest vibrational thing, when you're apathy and numb. So this is what happens. It's below rage. You could get so rageful and you could something be pissing you off so much. But what happens is when you get around someone that they were so emotional and then they got numb and they don't even react, they're like a stone cold, they're imploding on the inside, they're pressing everything down the inside. That is a very dangerous person. That's the person that's just very quiet, kind of like the movie The Joker, right? Super quiet, like just getting beat up, getting the shit, life's knocking the shit out of him. He's unable to express it. He's suppressing it, and he shows no emotion. He gets numb, apathetic, depressed, and then what happens? They absolutely blow up, right? So if you're watching this and you're in a severe depression, you're in scarcity mode, you're in poverty mode, you're in apathy, you're in indifference and numb, that's also another area you really don't want to make any type of decision out of. So with rage, if you're in rage, I help people express that rage to find the true story. So you let all the shit out. You let the top out of the pressure cooker. Great. If you're in depression, apathy, indifference, and scarcity, like you're so tired, that's the type of person I have to get them to the point where they're talking about their story, and then I got to get them to the point where they're talking their story where they absolutely fucking lose it. Like, that person will eventually rise up into anger. At least if I could get you into anger, you get some type of power and you can let that stuff out. So either in rage or apathy or indifference, if you would say that you're in those areas, don't make decisions there. Work through it, get through it, find the trigger, find the story. Once you find the story, create the new story. The new story is your revelation. Behind the revelation, now, how am I going to apply this new story to every area of my life? I know it sounds a little complicated. It might sound easy when I'm going through it, but it takes a lot of work. But here's the difference. This is the work that changes your life. This is the work that allows you to embrace your light and your darkness. Like, so many people are afraid of their darkness. No, 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 no. That's the good shit. See, we're so embarrassed of these things in our life. No, no, no. When you realize there's no right or wrong here, it's like you embrace all of it. Here's my darkness. Here's my rage. Oh, great. Love it. What is this teaching me? Good. I get pissed off at someone. They're a reflection of me. What do I see in them? It's in me. So I think when we could embrace our light and our darkness and live in that space, the whole goal is to become a man where you have nothing to hide. And the man who's in a room with nothing to hide is the most dangerous man in the room because he has nothing to lose, because he has nothing to hide. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed that. Share this, or if you're interested, I'd be happy to get on a call with you and kind of work through this process with you in some way, shape, or form. The reason why I'm willing to do that, because I love this stuff. This is my new phase in life, especially with men. And if you find in 15, 20, 30 minutes, you find a huge revelation, my hopes is to think, well, what's 1 year this going to provide for you? What value would that provide for you? So if interested, just DM me or message me direct, and we'll go from there. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching 15 Minute Fuel. We're just at 15 minutes a day for your mind, your body, and your future. I appreciate you guys always. I'll see you tomorrow.